Hello, my name is Tom Block. I am the founding publisher of the International Human Rights Art Movement Press, IHRAM Press. It is a subsidiary of the International Human Rights Art Movement. The umbrella organization, the International Human Rights Art Movement, is an art activist organization that platforms and presents artists in New York City and around the world in various media who are using their art to create positive social change. The values of the organization are as well the values of the publisher, the publishing house. And they are beauty as a fundamental value. So we don't work with conceptual or intellectual art in that respect. Um, Sincerity and vulnerability of presentation. We want to hear the stories of the people and what they're feeling. Opening doorways of engagement, so there's never anger or finger pointing or blame in these projects that we do. And then a celebration of diversity, which just means that we are open to all voices. And we have worked with artists from 120 countries around the world. And a lot of this is through our publishing house because it does have a very strong international bent. Another thing that we take very, very seriously is we do not charge any submission fees ever. And every artist that is published with us is paid. So this is really vital. As we're a collection of artists ourselves, we know how important it is to receive that acknowledgement. We do pay $50 per published piece. And while it might not seem like a lot here, we do work in countries around the world where $50 is equal to a month's wage, like Nigeria or Malawi. Um, so we have three aspects to our imprint. One is a 3 times a year literary magazine, and that literary magazine publishes visual art and poetry, essays, and short stories thematically. So here is our Q2 literary magazine, Invisible Chains, Contemporary Slavery, and Forced Migration. So all of these stories and essays and poetry concern this particular issue. And these artists come from around the world. And you can see kind of how nicely laid out our team does. Now, we also have a Hear the Voices book publishing. We publish probably 3 books a year. They're all anthologies and usually thematic or specific to one place and issue. Our Hear the Voices will have a general theme around maybe a geographic place or an issue. And here's an example. We published the book Voices of Africa. These are all African artists, and it says Voices of Africa, A Call for Freedom, a Pan-African international human rights anthology, human rights art movement anthology. So basically, we just said, we want to hear what you're thinking. And we find in these situations when we organically get artists from another part of the world that the issues of concern in Africa are very different than we're used to, or we might even assume there. And we learn quite a bit. So, for instance, issues in Africa are public corruption, political corruption, female genital mutilation, child brides, the education of women, and issues that might be very, very important here, such as BLM or racism, are not even on the radar there. So it's very interesting to learn as we hear these voices from around the world how different the specific issues are. And then we have something called the Rapid Response Publishing Program. And this is a very intensive experiential publishing program where we publish out of some of the most important and ongoing geopolitical situations and struggles around the world. So I'll give you a couple examples. This Iranian Women Speak was published out of the Women Life Freedom Movement in Iran. We published it in 2023, and we heard the voices of Iranian women and some male writers and artists going through this situation. They're in the middle of it. We also published this last year, and it won an Independent Book Award, America's Slide Towards Authoritarianism. So that was in the middle of our experience here in the United States as we go through this current political moment. And what are artists thinking? We're going to hear the voices of the people on the ground. We do not go into situations with a clipboard or send a scholar in or send one of our team members in. We're very fortunate in that due to our social media and our unique publishing process, we have a lot of organic reach. So upcoming in 2027, we have two more rapid response books. One is Voices of Palestine, Celebration of the Culture. And we received 190 submissions, all from Palestinian writers, of which 100 were from Gaza. 100 were from Gaza. And we're in the process of moving that towards publication. And then we have another book because we have a member on our team who is in Bangladesh and works a lot in the Rohingya refugee camp, Voices of the Rohingya. The Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh is the largest refugee camp in the world. And they have their own unique and very, very difficult challenges. And we are publishing all Rohingya writers who live under this situation. So our publishing process is we'll have a call for our magazine, for instance, about, say, land, climate change, and hope. It's always published on our website. There's no submission fee. The opportunities are always very clearly linked on the humanrightsartmovement.org website to go on, look under opportunities. We are getting, as we get better and better known, for instance, we will receive 300 to 500 submissions for 25 acceptances. So it's quite difficult to get in as a writer, though obviously the quality of our publications is very, very strong. All those writers who are accepted will be paid. They go through a rather rigorous editing process with our editorial team, led by our managing editor, Lisa Zamet. It is an international team. Lisa lives in Malta. We have members of the team in India, in Scotland, in the United States, in Canada. So we have a very international team that is supporting an extremely international publication. So that's our independent press. Like I said, we always have submission windows open, either for rapid response, which is a little narrower. So Voices of Palestine, we were only accepting Palestinian writers, not people with a passion about human rights in Palestine. America's Slide Towards Authoritarianism was mostly American writers. Iranian Women Speak was Iranian women writers. So the books are often a little bit narrower in their openness to geographical or situational writers. But the magazines, which are thematic, are always open to anybody in the world, and they all pay at the same rate. Obviously, our hope is to get more money and pass that along to the artists. We think it is very, very important to pay artists for their work, and the more we can pay them, the better we'll feel. So that is our publishing house. Again, if you go to the humanrightsartmovement.org website, and then just click on IHRAM Press or Opportunities, you will be able to find all the information you need about our work. Thank you very much, and we hope to be receiving your work in the near future. Bye-bye.